Today we're going to learn that God helps us stand strong. We'll learn about 3 friends who had an adventure and stood strong together.
When we think of Daniel, we think of Daniel in the lion's den. This is a story about Daniel and his 3 friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego.
Let's dig into our Bible story. We'll learn about a king who wanted people to go against God's plan. And we'll see how 3 men stood strong because God helps us stand strong. The Bible is true, so we know this really happened.
In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim's reign, Nebuchadnezzar surrounded Jerusalem and besieged it. The walls fell, and Nebuchadnezzar took the smartest and brightest to Babylon.
Among those taken were 14 boys: Daniel, Hananiah, renamed Shadrach, Mishael, renamed Meshach, and Azariah, renamed Abednego. The Babylonians renamed them to honor Babylon's god, not Judah's.
When the Jews arrived in Babylon, they were served luxurious foods from the king's table and were given wines taken from the temples. Daniel and his friends looked at each other worriedly. They knew God did not want them to eat this way.
Daniel went to the man in charge and asked, "Sir, may we please have some bread and vegetables? We do not want to offend our God."
God made Daniel a favorite of the chief, so he smiled and answered, "I wish I could, but I promised my king you would all be healthy and strong. If you are not, he will kill me."
Daniel nodded. "Let us try our diet for 10 days. If we are not as strong and healthy as everyone else, then we will eat your food."
The chief agreed, and for 10 days they ate only vegetables and drank only water. At the end of that time they were stronger than anyone else.
God saw their faithfulness and blessed them with great wisdom and skill. In addition, Daniel was given the ability to understand dreams. When they stood before the king, Daniel and his friends were found to be the wisest of all the people taken from Jerusalem.
Time passed, and King Nebuchadnezzar decided to build a large statue so everyone would know how great he was. Let's watch a cartoon of the story.
And now, princes, governors, and rulers of Babylon, get ready to fall down on your face and bow, 'cause here comes your heart, your mighty king, Nebuchadnezzar! Nebi! Live forever!
This story takes place a long time ago in the kingdom of Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar was a powerful king, and whatever he said instantly became the law.
Nebuchadnezzar and his people worshipped many gods. There was one exception, and that was the king's advisor, Daniel. Daniel worshipped one God. The king and his people had seen how Daniel had successfully interpreted one of the king's dreams with the help of his God, when all of the priests and magicians in Babylon had failed.
Not long after this experience, Nebuchadnezzar called all of the important people in Babylon together for a special event.
Woo! Nebi! Thank you. Now, I know that the main reason you're all cheering for me is because you know that if you don't, I can have you cut up into little pieces and your houses made into a giant pile of manure. But seriously, it touches my magnificent royal heart to have such a warm reception. Now, I have commanded you all to come here today for a very important purpose: to present to you your new god, the big golden image. But that's not all. Because BGI is new around here, we want to make sure he feels right at home. So I've come up with a little game that I think you'll all enjoy. It's called Worship or Die. The rules are pretty simple. When you hear the BGI theme music, you simply stop what you're doing, drop to the ground, and worship the statue. But with every game, there's a catch. If you mess up, you lose, and you get thrown into a burning fiery furnace. Thank you all for playing. Enjoy your new god!
And so, every day when the music played, everybody bowed down to the great statue in the public square. Everybody, that is, except for 3 people.
Shadrach,
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were not born in Babylon and did not share many of the religious beliefs of the king or his other subjects. They were Jews and friends of Daniel, whose home country had been conquered by Nebuchadnezzar's army.
We only worship one God, though others may find this quite odd. We're not singing their song. Do-do-do-do, 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 do-do-do-do.
One day, just as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were strolling by BGI Square, the statue's theme music began to play.
Hey, why aren't those weirdos over there worshiping the statue?
I don't know. Hey, you three, stop singing and bow down to BGI.
How about no?
What? How dare you defy the king? Don't you know the rules?
Yeah, who do you think you are? We're gonna tell King Nebi, then you'll be sorry.
Yeah. Hey, Nebi, over here.
Excuse me? What did you just call me?
Oops, sorry.
Oh, King Nebuchadnezzar, live forever!
Much better. Now, what's the problem?
It seems Larry, Curly, and Mo here don't like your new decree.
What? I know these men. They're friends of my advisor, Daniel. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. How could you do this to me? Bow down to the BGI right now, or I'll have you thrown into that fiery furnace so fast.
Sorry. Our only God is Adonai. We could not bow to BGI. The King of Kings who reigns on high will never.
That's it. I've had just about enough of this trio. Bind them up and throw them in.
You can throw us in the furnace. Our God, He would not burn us. He will help us along.
And into the furnace they went. The king was so furious that he ordered the furnace to be heated to 7 times its normal temperature.
The king came to the furnace to inspect, but as he approached, he heard an odd sound coming from the furnace.
What's this? How can they still be alive?
And then, something even stranger.
What the? Where did that other voice come from? I'd better take a look inside. How is this possible? Didn't we cast 3 men bound up into the furnace a moment ago?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I swear I put them in there, Your Honor.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
then
right.
why do I see 4 of them walking around in there?
What? Who?
I don't know, but they look like...
Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and the Son of God. Our quartet is now complete. We don't even feel any heat while the Lord is our song. Do-do-do-do.
When Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego emerged from the furnace, all the guards and princes who were there saw that not a single hair of theirs had been burned or even singed. They didn't even smell like fire.
Nebuchadnezzar spoke to the 3 of them.
Wow, you guys. I'm so sorry. How can I ever make it up to you? Clearly, you were right and I was wrong. You were right to stay faithful to your God. He must be the real deal. I mean, he sent his angel to protect you from the fire. He saved you so you could continue to worship him and no one else. I'm going to make a new decree that no man in Babylon is allowed to insult the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, because there is no other God who could save people like this. And just to make it interesting, let's say that anyone who doesn't obey me shall be cut into little pieces and have their houses made into a giant pile of manure.
Well, clearly Nebuchadnezzar's decree wasn't perfect. He still thought that people should be punished for their beliefs. But as far as we know, nobody ever disobeyed it, so no harm done. As for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were promoted in the king's court.
But even more important than their individual story is the promise that God can always help us in any difficult situation. Since that time, many people oppressed by slavery, violence, and sickness have been helped and healed by remembering stories and the lessons they illustrate, like this one. Whenever we feel trapped or unsafe, we can remind each other that God cares for us. We can work together, just as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did, to recognize the freedom and safety that God provides for us. Like them, we can come through these experiences without the smell of smoke, without any scars, because God, good, is our only real life.
Because God helps us stand strong.
God helps us stand strong.
God helps us stand strong. Even though Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into the fiery furnace, God was with them. God is with us when we need to stand strong for Him too.
Hi, my name is James and I'm 12 years old. สวัสดีครับ ผมชื่อเจมส์ ผมอายุ 12 ขวบครับ
James lives in Chiang Mai. It's a beautiful city with a river right in the middle of it. James stands strong by going to a Christian church, even though most people are Buddhist. James knows that being a Christian might make him feel different or uncomfortable, but God helps us stand strong.
Being a Christian, for me it feels like I'm doing the right thing. I don't feel like ashamed of being a Christian. God is important to me, who created me, who sent me to live here, and it all goes back to God.
This is the building where James lives. He lives way up on the 4th floor. Every day when James wakes up, he makes his bed and gets ready for the day. James stands strong by obeying his parents. Then he starts making breakfast. This morning he's having toast with butter and spinach soup. James and his parents pray before every meal. James and his family stand strong by talking to God. Even though it's early morning, the market is still busy and bustling with activity. In Thailand, people leave their shoes at the front door. But it's time for James to go to school, so he's putting his shoes on. Before he leaves, his dad prays with him. They know James needs God's help to stand strong as a Christian in Thailand. In Chiang Mai, some kids get to school by walking, and some kids catch a ride with mom or dad on a scooter. James's mom takes him to school in their car. He speaks excellent English because he goes to an international school with kids from all over the world. James really enjoys school and has lots of friends. Every day before class, James listens to Thailand's national anthem. Then he does schoolwork and heads to the library.
One of my friends, his name is John. He's interested in history, which is like me.
James and John help each other with their history homework. James stands strong by helping his friend. When they're done, James heads to church to practice piano and violin.
It can be hard to stand strong and do the right thing. If we stand strong, people might tease us or even bully us. For Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, there were big consequences for standing strong. They could have died.
But they were ready to stand strong because God helps us stand strong. He can help you in every situation you face.
A long time ago, American soldiers were given books with prayers written out for them to use when they were on the battlefield. The soldiers were often about the same age as Daniel and his friends were at the time this story takes place. Here is one of those prayers for courage that the soldiers would pray.
Abide with us, O Lord, this night, and with all the sick and sorrowful, the forsaken and weary, to strengthen and to cheer and to give rest. Amen.
Here's this week's Bible verse.
Daniel 3:17. Our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O King.
Our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O King.
Our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O King.
Today we learned that God helps us stand strong.
God helps us stand strong.
Because God helps us stand strong. In just a minute, listen to the lyrics of the closing song. What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms. I have blessed peace with my Lord so near, leaning on the everlasting arms.
Come back next week for a whole lot more about lions.
What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms. I have blessed peace with my Lord so near, leaning on the everlasting arms.
See you next week and learn your memory.
Bye! See you next week!
Safe and secure from all
Y'all come back now.
arms.
Bye! See you next week!
Leaning on the
What's for lunch?
everlasting arms.